Hey, everybody out there, this is Stephen Bonacore, the Podfather of Gaming, and I'm coming to you with a very special guest, very special topic. I have Scott Morris with me right now, and this is going to be like the first major Gen Con announcement that's happening. And I'm going to first start by reading from the press release coming out of Lucky Duck Games in Krakow, Poland, August 1st, 2022. Lucky Duck Games announced today that Scott Morris has been appointed their new Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, an experienced leader in the tabletop games industry. Scott will lead the sales and marketing teams across all the markets that Lucky Duck Games publishes in, currently English, French, Polish, and Italian. Scott, besides being a wonderful friend of mine, first of all, just thank you so much for selecting the Podfather of Gaming as one of the first, if not the first person to put this news out for you. Thank you so much. How are you? And tell me a little bit about this big news that you have here.
I know, it's amazing, right? So
this is crazy.
Dude, I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm so excited. I love what you're doing with the Podfather stuff. And this is just the perfect opportunity to get together and talk about something cool and fun. So I am more than honored and thrilled to be sitting here talking with you about this. And yeah, it's really cool. Like I guess this is kind of technically the first big Gen Con news for what's going on this week, right?
There's going to be like dozens of pieces of news. This one, 10 a.m. August 1st, will be the first one announced because I'm going to put it out at 9:58. So I beat everybody to it. I got permission to do that by the senior people here. Anyway,
we'll give you a 5-minute buffer on the embargo, so you're all good with that. So yeah. No,
tell us about what's going on here, man. I mean, you're moving and you're going on to this huge thing now with Lucky Duck Games.
Oh, I'm moving in the sense of like what I do in the industry. I'm not moving physically, which is one of the best parts about this because I get to stay. My family and I just moved to Kansas City a couple of years ago, right at the beginning of the pandemic, which let me tell you is super easy to move in. It was so, sarcasm all abound. So we're going to get to stay physically there, but I am moving. So for anyone that is not familiar with what I've done in the past, for the last 6 years, I've worked with GTS Distribution, which is one of the largest distributors of board games and entertainment products in the United States and actually in the globe. They actually have warehouses around the world now. And I have been basically the board game guy for them. I've been running their board game business. I've been interacting with the partners, working with the different publishers, working with the exclusive publishers, a lot of logistics, a lot of operations, a lot of project management, things like that. And it's been super, super fun. But we started a conversation a couple of months back. Vince Bergongine, the owner of Lucky Duck Games, came to me and we started into a conversation about some things. As usual in these things, one thing led to another and then another and then another. And then it was, well, what if we did this? And then opportunities started to come together. And I honestly could not be more honored and more excited about this because I have long said, and most people know this from me who have worked with me at GTS, there are very few publishers that could even scratch the itch of wanting me to leave my job at GTS to come and work for them. Vince was on that list of people you could count. It was a very, very small list. And I love Vince, the person, the owner of Lucky Duck Games. I love how he operates, what he does, how he does. And those were all very attractive things. But the number one thing to me is that this is a company much more than what they look like on the surface. Very much like a duck. Looks very calm on the surface, paddling like crazy underneath, right?
There you go.
Lucky Duck obviously does their own games. Most notably is probably Chronicles of Crime is the one most people are familiar with. Several different series in there, with 1400, 1900, 2400, things like that. But apart from doing their own games, they're not just board games, they're digital hybrid games, which are games that utilize a device, either your tablet or your phone, to kind of increase the narrative and just increase the ambiance to the game. That in itself is unique to me. That's something when I look at it, I'm like, this is something a lot of people have tried to do, but haven't really been able to hit the nail on the head, so to speak. And I think Lucky Duck has done a tremendous job with that. That speaks to me about the type of people and the type of team that's put together here already. But then on top of that, they also have a worldwide publishing program where they get to actually publish other publishers' products in foreign languages. So in those languages you were mentioning earlier. that is a gigantic piece of the business as well. We work with Direwolf Digital to do Imperium. We work with Isle of Cats and our City of Games with Isle of Cats and companies like that. Tremendous big companies around the world, and we get to help them increase their footprint with different languages. So it's really much more than just a publisher. It is a company that is a collective of amazing individuals and wonderful individuals, but they're also doing really cool and really unique things in the marketplace. And that's a key word for me. Anything unique is really good.
And it's really interesting. I think people don't realize how big Lucky Duck actually is. I mean, you hit the scene huge with Chronicles of Crime and Destiny. So many great, unique, interesting games have come out from you guys recently. But the company is actually much bigger than I think most people know. Like you said, you publish in 4 languages, all the time, right? I mean, that's like the standard set of languages that you publish in. And you're licensing games from all over the world. It's big, and you're going to have a lot on your plate now because you're going to be you're C-level, right? You're going to be the chief sales and marketing officer. So you got the whole thing globally now. Is that right?
Pretty much, yeah. I think it should be changed to Chief Buck Stops Here guy. So,
there you go.
But yeah, so I have a team in America, team in Italy that just started up. I got a team in Poland, got a team in France, looking at other regions as well and other things for growth and stuff like that. That is very exciting. It's been very fun to me because while I don't know Polish and I don't know Italian, I know a little bit of French from my time growing up in New York and spending a summer in Montreal, which is starting to slowly come back to me, to like things like où sont les toilettes and things like that. So I can figure out what I need to figure out. But that piece of it is also very exciting because I'm going to get to work with people in regions of the world that I've worked with before, but now I'm actually going to get to go there and like be there with them, which is going to involve a lot of traveling, which is going to be really cool as well.
Parlo italiano pochissimo.
Ah, très bien.
Very, very, very little I know Italian, but so I mean, this is really great news. Great for you, and you're bringing experience that you've gotten from being on the distribution side for the last 6 years in a very big position, but you were also on the publishing side first with Arcane Wonders, which is where we first met. It was very early in the Stronghold times. Even we met early on. We met there, but then you also ran your own publishing company for a while, right? And so you had that as well going on.
Yeah, it wasn't my company, but I was the president of the company. It was Passport Game Studios. Yeah.
Right. So you've gone the gamut of publishing, and you ran a retailer. Isn't that right?
I did way back in the day when I had hair. Believe it or not, I actually did have a beautiful mullet at one point in my life. I used to run a store called Iron Vic's Cards and Comics, which was in upstate New York where I lived. And it was absolutely wonderful. I miss Vic a lot. God rest his soul. He was a great guy and a wonderful shop. I remember to this day sitting in the shop with him and him telling me, I don't know, it looks like baseball and like D&D got together. I think it's a fad. I don't think it's going to work. And he's like, don't order any of it. And then I ordered 3 cases of it and we sold out of it in an hour. And he came in and he's like, what is going on? There were people like playing this game on top of the comic boxes. And I'm like, oh yeah, that Magic the Gathering stuff. Oh, that thing. You told me not to order it. I ordered like 3 cases of it. And he goes, I told you not to order it. I said, we sold out in an hour. We'll order more of it, right? So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun. So yeah, apart from like, working in a manufacturing facility, I've kind of sat on all sides of the table, so to speak. I've even designed my own games and published my own games with people.
As we say, you've been on all the different tiers. As we like to say that in the industry. You've now been, except for on the manufacturing, physical manufacturing side, which of course the biggest companies out in China mostly, and then some in Europe. Germany, those are the ones doing that. You've been on all the other tiers, so you really have a broad perspective of how the industry works, which obviously is going to help you in this new, very large position at Lucky Duck. Can you give me, maybe they haven't even defined yet, can you give me some of your roles and responsibilities that you'll have besides the buck stops here guy at Lucky Duck?
Sure, yeah. I mean, it probably always will be the buck stops here, but when you look at it, it's a company that has grown extremely big over a very short period of time. I remember meeting Vince at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, when he just had 1 or 2 games, looking to do US distribution. And then to watch what he's grown into right now as a company, this is amazing. I am going to be one of 50 plus employees, and not like contractors, not like part-time people, like 50 plus full-time employees. And that probably will raise a lot of people's eyebrows if they don't realize about it, because you know as well as I do, we've been in this industry long enough to hear someone have 5 full-time employees or 10 full-time employees is a lot. And when you think 50, you think of some of the biggest companies. You think of like an Asmodee or a Fantasy Flight, things like that. So this is a much bigger operation than I think most people realize at first on the surface. Again, the duck thing, right? Calm and cool and collective on top, kind of going crazy under the water to make sure everything works right.
There you go.
In terms of roles and responsibilities, it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, Chief Sales and Marketing Officer, going to be responsible for the sales, going to be responsible for the marketing, going to work with the other chief executives that are in the company, whether it's the development officer, whether it's the operations officer or the online officer. We're all going to kind of work together to make sure our plans are going forward with what we want to do as a company. But then I think one of my big things is really kind of getting all these individual teams all together under one major team, which is going to be the most important part. Each of these teams has a leader already. They're doing absolutely phenomenal on their own. And now it's kind of time to kick it into high gear and go from this level to the next level, which I think is going to be really exciting to see.
That's fantastic. And you've been talking about Vince, the CEO of the group.
Yep.
What an amazing guy. And I'm going to put up a big shout out to him, because I had not met Vince until 2019 when I went out to Poland. I was going to Essen. I went to Poland to hang out with Ignacy for a couple of days, just, spend some of the day. He invited us out there. Vince heard that I was going to be out there, and it was Zev and Zev from WizKids. We were both out there. He was like, I gotta see you too. I want to see you. I want to buy you lunch. And like, he just descended upon us, and we just had a great time hanging out. Wonderful, warm, smart business guy. Just liked being around him. And just enjoy his company. And every time I see him, it's like, even though I don't get to see him very often, especially that was the last time I saw him until Dice Tower East just about a month ago, I saw him. Yeah. And it's like, I'm seeing my best friend again. He's just a warm guy that you just want to be around. So I'm really happy that you're hooking up with such a great company run by such a really, really cool guy. That's just good all around.
He's very genuine. That was one of the first things that struck me when I first met him about 5 or 6 years ago. And it's funny that you say, kind of describe things about that. I've described Vince to other people as, when you meet Vince, even if it's your very first time meeting him, you will feel as though you've known him your whole life.
Yep.
Like he just comes off as such a likable person and such a genuine person that you're like, oh, this is my friend. I've known this guy forever. And you feel like you've known him forever. So yeah, it's that piece of it is a true blessing, right? It's one thing to love what you do. It's a whole nother thing to love who you work with and who you work for. And that's just kind of like the cherry on top of the milkshake, which is awesome.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Scott, thank you so much for giving me this kind of exclusive interview, a little back scenes look at what your new role is going to be over at Lucky Duck. Tell everybody how to find Lucky Duck and how to get in touch with you and all that kind of stuff. Give us the social on the whole thing.
So luckyduckgames.com. You can find all the social media stuff on there as well, and order games on there, or at your friendly local game store, of course, as well. If you're here at Gen Con right now and listening to this, we're in booth 157, kind of back left of the area. Really nice. You're actually like 10 steps away from the entrance, which is awesome. So really easy.
Wow, you're in 157. That's like literally the first booth almost as soon as you walk in on that left side, right? Boom, you walk right in and you're going to be right there. That's great.
Yeah, it's going to be really nice. And we're going to, if anyone can't find that for any reason, we're going to be right next to Gloomhaven and Cephalofair. So if you see Gloomhaven, I mean, almost everyone knows what Gloomhaven is. You'll find us right next there. And I'm going to be in the booth all the time. So if anyone's watching this and wants to come by and get a crisp high five, just look for the guy wearing the Lucky Duck sneakers and the Lucky Duck mask, because I'm in full-on branding mode. So.
This guy is he's a man after my own heart. Always be branding is my motto. Absolutely.
I learned it from you, my friend.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Well, Scott, thank you so much for spending your time. Everybody out there, remember, Lucky Duck Games, booth 157 here at Gen Con. Go check him out. Say hello to Scott Morris. Tell him the Podfather of gaming sent you, and you listened to it here first and watched it here. Look at Scott using my coasters right there.
That's right.
There we go. We've got these. We've got these coasters too. Scott, awesome. Thank you again so much. We'll talk again soon. Everybody out there, thank you for listening. Take care. Hope you're at Gen Con hanging out. Have a good time.